Thank you guys for tuning in to a special episode of the Weekly Double Down, which is a daily Double Down Network podcast. This week is just me, Cody, writing solo, and I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts and opinions on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. The way this episode is going to work, I'm going to give a first half of this episode will be spoiler-free review, and then the second half we'll get into spoilers. Before I get into the spoilers, I will let parents know what age you should look to go around with your kids, whether you should watch it with them or let them go by themselves. But let's get into it. So, I just want to say the reviews are very mixed. Critics and audiences cannot make up their minds and get it together in one solidarity, and I understand why. From a critical standpoint, this movie was just okay. It was just meh. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad movie. It was by no means something along the lines of Morbius or Venom, Let There Be Carnage. It was not on that kind of level. It was still well put together. I would say the CGI looks great, except for one person, which we will get into later. Could have been a little bit better, but at the same time, for the type of character it was, they still knocked it out of the park, made him look amazing. Now, as far as content goes, the overall movie, it wasn't that dirty. It was a very clean, very family-friendly presentation, I would say. There were some innuendos thrown in there, but nothing too bad. So, if you're looking for what if you should take your child, I would say 10, 11, it's probably about the right age to start taking them with you to go see it. If they're 13, 14, yeah, let them go see it by themselves. This movie's fine. But I do want to talk about a few things that are a little, before we hit the spoiler button, we get into it. A few cool things about this film. I really, really, really love Jonathan Majors as King. I cannot express to you guys how good he played this character. It was there's nothing to say. You just kissed your fingers, your little mwah. Yeah, it was beautiful. He did a great job. And you see a lot of what happens in Loki transfer over, and a lot of the emotion and the thought transfer over as we start to see this Kang Dynasty pan out and what we are looking at as the multiverse saga, which is going to extend through phase 4 through phase 6. So, I really like that we got a good look at one of our villains for this saga, and we got a deep look at him, but at the same time, we get to change this villain, and we get to see him progress as we get closer to the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. So, I really like that. Now, I do have a problem with the title of the film. The title of the film is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. It shouldn't have been Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. It should have been Ant-Man in Quantumania, because they focus very little on hope. The emotional moment at the end, you did not see their relationship develop very much, so there's little character arc for anyone except for Scott and Cassie, which this film is really focused around. They really, really, really dug their boots in and were like, we need to set up Cassie Lang. So they did that, and I thought they did a very, very good job with Cassie. Absolutely knocked her character out of the park. Catherine Newton did a great job. I love seeing her. Yes, they switched out the actresses. No, I don't care. There was time travel going on. Let's just, pick up where it is. We have a new Cassie. Let's move forward. This isn't the first new Cassie we've gotten, remember? So, kind of. Technically, we have 3 different Cassies. But at the same time, yeah, you guys know what I'm saying. We get a new Cassie, but it doesn't really matter. In my opinion, Catherine Newton did a fine job. It was great. So with that being said, I'm just going to hit the spoiler button and just let you guys know, hey, everything's off the shelf. So after this 5-minute mark, you want to pause it, alright? With that being said, let's get into this. Now, I want to talk about the suits first. Ant-Man's suit looked like crap. There's a lot of extra lines. It was very hard to watch him fight while he was in his suit. Hope Van Dyne's, the Wasp suit, looked absolutely fantastic. I loved it. They brought her natural cut or her typical character colors back, and we got an actual yellow Wasp suit that was very, very, very yellow, and I loved that. Of course, with Cassie, she's moving into her role as Stature, and her suit, phenomenal. I really, really, really like that she doesn't wear normal boots that would go with the suit. She actually wears a pair of Converses, which just it makes her seem more of a teenager. It brings her down to, yeah, she's still young, she's not very experienced, and if you look throughout the film, yeah, you see jump, then push, jump, click. And if you guys haven't seen it, you'll understand what I'm talking about, but for those of you guys who have seen the film, you guys understand what I'm talking about. So as far as the story goes, it is exactly what we thought it was. They all get sucked down via MODOK, who, surprise, surprise, fills out to be every fan's theory. Yes, it was Darren Cross from the first Ant-Man film, who was pretty much resurrected by Kang and turned into a mechanism only designed only for killing. Mechanical organism designed only for killing. Sorry. But yes, it goes by MODOK, and I hated his arc throughout the story. He does come and kind of save the day at the end. I thought that was stupid. Shouldn't have done that. But that was the character where his CGI kind of looked off. But at the same time, the majority of it looked pretty good. But when you have a character like MODOK in a film, it's going to be really hard to pull it off in live action. For any of you guys who aren't familiar with the character, I would definitely go check out Hulu's series on it. They have their own original series called MODOK, and it's pretty funny. I would check it out if I were you, especially if you're a fan of late night comedy. It's a great show. But the story goes, MODOK is able to reverse engineer a quantum mapping device that Cassie has developed, and pull the family, which is Hank Pym, Cassie, Hope Van Dyne, Janet Van Dyne, and Scott Lang, all through this portal and bring them to Chronopolis, in the quantum realm where Kang has been banished to. Of course, they do end up having to get a power source for Kang, and Ant-Man is left to retrieve it. Once he does, the whole shebang, they end up stopping Kang from getting out of the quantum realm, and they kill him. Kind of falls in and gets mangled up. He does not actually have a death. We're not sure what happened, because he was pretty much shrunk out of existence, is what's the thought. But from what we saw in the post-credit scenes, it does seem as if this Kang is dead. He's gone. He's nowhere to be seen, because we get the coolest part of the film, in my opinion, and that is the revelations that there is a Council of Kangs. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with the source material, then you won't understand that that's really huge and how it plays out. But just short ways, Kang is never just Kang. He has many different versions of himself. Usually they unite for a common goal, and typically a different version of Kang ends up stopping him. So we will see that. As for other thoughts on the film, I really hated the way that they just got away with Rylar, whatever his name was. Bill Murray's character was really bad in it. I did not like it. I did not appreciate him, and I thought he should have been shit out. Excuse my language, but gosh. No, this man should not have been in the film. They just wanted to throw another older actor in there. You got Michael Douglas, you got Michelle Pfeiffer. Hey, let's throw Bill Murray in there. This will be great. Yeah, no, didn't work. Surprise cast, David Dastmalchian, who I absolutely adore. He's been in lots of stuff. Most recently, that I can think of off the top of my head, he was in The Suicide Squad playing Polka Dot Man. So he's in there as one of the Quantum Realm natives. He's kind of got like this giant light head. I don't remember exactly what his name is off tops, and I don't ever recall seeing him from any of the comics. We also are introduced to a character named Quaz, who is a telepath in the quantum realm, played by William Jackson Harper. And, you know, he was like a MacGuffin character. He just was there to push the plot along. He was just there to make sure that, hey, they're not lying. It's all it really was, and just come in clutch to get a secret code right at the end of the movie. He was kind of thrown away. But as you guys can see, some of my thoughts on this film, like, I really want to love this film. I really do. I want to love it, love it, love it. Like, as soon as I sat in, I was engaged. I was in that movie the whole time, just, what's happening next, and I loved it. As a Marvel fan, I was all for it 100% the entire time. But some of the elements of the films just, it didn't hold up, it didn't stand, and it was one of the weaker Marvel movies. This was not Eternals, Thor, The Dark World, or Thor 4 material, but it was pretty close. This is on the lower side, but personally, I like it. I think it's really good, and I think it's just going to take some time for it to sit and settle for us to be able to figure out if we actually truly appreciate this film. Overall, I'm going to give you guys a rating, Rotten Tomatoes style. I give this film a 77%. It's not great, it's not bad, it's kind of meh, but a little bit above average in my personal opinion. Overall, if you're a Marvel fan, definitely go check this film out. Definitely watch it. Even if you're not a Marvel fan and you just watch Marvel movies, there's some good laughs in there. You'll enjoy it. It's a cool sci-fi action thriller that reminds me a lot of Star Wars, honestly. But with that being said, this is the end of our time together, and I will just want to say, hey, go ahead and check out our media network. You can check that out at DoubleDownNetwork.com, or you guys can check us out on Instagram at Double Down Network, and that's where we post all of our updates for all of our podcasts concerning all sorts of different things, whether it's sports, to news, to movies, to television. It's all there for you guys. I just want to thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you guys next week.